when you look back, you go, oh, it all makes sense now. I can't believe I didn't see this. Hello everyone! Today we're going to be talking about foreshadowing. And as you can see, I'm wearing my Hogwarts shirt and my Time Turner necklace. And I'm going to be using examples from the Harry Potter series because I think there are some great examples of foreshadowing there. So first of all, what is foreshadowing? Foreshadowing is just any time that the author hints at something that's going to happen in the future. It usually won't be very blatant, like the narrator saying, little did he know whatever was about to happen. It can be like that, but more often it's much more subtle. And it's not just limited to books. Movies and TV shows and other types of media also use foreshadowing. So the most obvious type of foreshadowing, aside from something like the narrator making a comment about what's about to happen, would be prophecies or other sort of obvious glimpses at what is going to happen. And the Harry Potter series does that. There's a prophecy about Harry and Voldemort that says that Harry will be the one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord. Once that prophecy is revealed, it would be really disappointing if the final book didn't end in a massive showdown between Harry and Voldemort. Because at that point, that's been foreshadowed to such an extreme extent, that's just what has to happen. But that prophecy also provides a little bit more subtle foreshadowing when we learn that it could originally have applied to either Harry or his classmate Neville Longbottom. Now, because of Voldemort's choices, the prophecy clearly refers to Harry. But because we know that Neville could also have been the chosen one, that kind of sets up and foreshadows his prominent role in the Battle of Hogwarts as well. The prophecy itself is also foreshadowed much earlier in the series. In Book 3, Professor Trelawney is introduced. At first, she seems to be just a massive fraud, but then it turns out at the end she makes an actual prophecy. And that prophecy comes to fruition very quickly by the end of the book, and then leading into Goblet of Fire. But since we know that real prophecies exist in the Harry Potter world and that Professor Trelawney has made at least one at that point, in fact Dumbledore mentions it's her second one, that sets up for the prophecy about Harry and Voldemort. It makes it less out of nowhere when it occurs in Book 5. I don't want you to get the impression, though, that foreshadowing is usually as blatant as a literal prophecy. Most of the time it's a lot more subtle. For instance, a lot of things that happen in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince are actually foreshadowed in the Chamber of Secrets. Now, you couldn't really put together the pieces from the Chamber of Secrets to figure out what happens in the Half-Blood Prince because there's a lot that comes in between them, and there are a lot of details from Chamber of Secrets that don't end up being relevant outside of that book itself. But the most obvious example would be the introduction of Tom Riddle's diary. Obviously, the diary itself turns out to be much more significant than Harry originally assumed, and also learning that Voldemort was once Tom Riddle, a student at Hogwarts, that becomes very significant in the 6th book where Harry and Dumbledore really delve into Voldemort's past and look for a way to defeat him. Another thing that seems like an irrelevant detail in Chamber of Secrets but becomes much more important in Half-Blood Prince is Ginny's crush on Harry. In Chamber of Secrets, Harry doesn't really seem to think much of it. He certainly doesn't have similar feelings for her, and it kind of just is brushed aside. But in Half-Blood Prince, he ends up liking her, and they end up becoming a couple. A couple of other things mentioned in Chamber of Secrets are the Vanishing Cabinet, the Hand of Glory, and the Cursed Opal Necklace, all of which play important roles in Draco Malfoy's plot to bring Death Eaters into Hogwarts and murder Albus Dumbledore in Book 6. Of course, we could never figure out, just looking at Chamber of Secrets, that Harry and Ginny would be a couple, that Draco Malfoy would attempt to assassinate Dumbledore, or that Tom Riddle's diary would be so significant over the course of the series. But because those things are introduced in Chamber of Secrets, it lays the groundwork for when they become more important in Half-Blood Prince. Even within the same book, there can be foreshadowing. It's not just across a whole series. So for instance, early on in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione seems to be taking way too many classes, and sometimes they're scheduled at the same time, but she will not answer Harry and Ron when they ask how she can be in 2 places at once. Later on in the book, it's revealed that she has a time turner, and she's been, turning it back in order to travel back in time by an hour or 2 and be in 2 places at once, go to multiple classes at once. The time turner plays an important role, and because it's hinted that Hermione has a way to be in multiple places at once very early on in the book, it kind of sets up the fact that they may be able to do that in the novel's climax. And then finally, it's not just plot twists that can be foreshadowed, it can also be character development, character motivation, or major decisions that characters would make. For instance, Snape's true loyalty is foreshadowed so much over the course of the series in ways that don't make sense until the end. Of course, there are moments early on when we see him doing the right thing, like trying to stop Quirrell from taking the Sorcerer's Stone, and there are moments where it seems like he is a very bad person. For instance, he's horrible to most of his students, particularly Harry and Neville, and we definitely know that he was working for Voldemort at one point. In the beginning of Half-Blood Prince, there's a scene where he's talking to Bellatrix Lestrange and Narcissa Malfoy, and he systematically just shoots down every single one of the reasons that a fan might give for why he's really one of the good guys. But then in Deathly Hallows, of course, it's revealed that he was working for Dumbledore all along and even did what he did at the end of Half-Blood Prince on Dumbledore's orders. So all of the complicated questioning of whose side is Snape really on foreshadows the complex answer to what his true loyalties were. If it were just dropped in the last book that, oh yeah, he was actually like a quadruple agent or whatever, it wouldn't be as believable if there hadn't been that lingering question all along. So what I hope you're getting out of this is that foreshadowing is often very subtle and you only notice it in hindsight, or maybe it's something that you notice but you're not sure the significance of it until later on. But rereading a book or thinking back over it, you can see where the groundwork was laid for something that was eventually going to happen. Sometimes a movie or a TV show or a book series will try to give you a shocking twist, but they don't adequately foreshadow it, even in subtle ways that you wouldn't notice the first time around. And that, I think, can often leave people feeling very dissatisfied. Whereas a twist that is well foreshadowed in nice, subtle ways that you wouldn't figure out at first can be very satisfying, because when you look back, you go, oh, it all makes sense now. I can't believe I didn't see this. Or you notice the clues that were left along the way, or the hints at what was going to happen. I know it's a little bit of a tricky and complex concept, but basically what it boils down to is that the author or the screenwriter or whoever is trying to give hints at what is to come, often in order to make a future plot twist or event more believable. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post videos twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays, and I talk about literary concepts, reading, writing, classic books, study tips, college tips, and more.